Hi, I'm Joe. I'm the singer and I play bass as well.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm just the drummer.
Member called Joe as well, and he plays guitar and he sings a bit.
It's a natural feeling when I'm with you. Take advantage of me. Take advantage of
So how did you guys meet?
We met at uni. I met Joe in like the student union at this kind of band meetup thing, and we bumped into each other, started talking, and like realized like we liked the same kind of bands, and then we were both called Joe, so it kind of seemed like fate. And then then I think we met Lucas through like Facebook or something. Like he posted that he was a drummer looking for a band, and then kind of all met up, started jamming together, and it just sounded good. We all had similar interests, so it just kind of worked out really well.
So who were your musical influences growing up? Who was a certain person that kind of made you want to pick up an instrument, or really someone that kind of made you want to be in a band?
I owe it all to my mum and dad, really. Like between them, I feel like I've been exposed to every genre like imaginable. Like I'd go from like listening to something like the Smiths to like Metallica to like Motown, or like really just kind of exposed to all sorts of stuff. And I think I started like learning piano at quite a young age, so I got into like a lot of jazz, and I found that interesting when I started playing bass as well. And like I don't know. We set up, and then as I grew older and became like an angsty teenager, started listening to like Nirvana and loads of grungy music, and then got into like loads of like late 80s American punk music, and then kind of just put it all together and like melded it into whatever sound we've got now, really.
I don't know, mine's pretty out there. Most of the time I just listen to whatever comes up on my Spotify recommended, but like what got me into drums kind of just at my primary school we just got to pick an instrument, and then after that I sort of kept going with it, and then had like a really good drum teacher who kind of looked like a Thor or something, and he was a really good drum teacher, so that sort of got me into playing with bands and stuff. And then at like secondary school joined a jazz band, sort of like saw different genres and stuff. But yeah.
So tell us a bit about your music. Where do your ideas for songs come from?
Well, we kind of self-described as like a mixture of punk and funk music. Most of the ideas come from, I guess I kind of bring like musical ideas to Lucas mainly, and like we work on them, usually just those two for a while, because like a lot of the music we listen to, like we mentioned, like jazz and like Motown and like other stuff, like kind of has like a very drum and bass centric kind of solid groove, and then like I'll bring ideas like lyrically that I've been like working on. I kind of like tend to store ideas in my head and let them kind of like brew for a little bit, and then think what songs have we got that also portray this, like the feelings that I have, and like what do they relate to, and then we kind of just marry them together in the practice room, really. And then Joe, our guitarist, he's like really good at coming up with like I like dabble in guitar a little bit, so I'm like, oh Joe, can you play this little line? And then he'll make it 10 times better like instantly. And it kind of all comes together in the practice room, really. Like me and Lucas work on stuff, then we just slowly add bits to it. In the studio, I don't know. I guess we just try and get it to sound as much like as we do live as possible, really. Like we don't really add too much extra to it. I don't know if Lucas has anything else.
I was just going to say about like the like music process. We kind of just sort of have like an element where we make it up as well as we go along. Like I have no idea like what a verse and a chorus is half the time, so I just sort of start playing whatever, and then slowly stuff starts sticking, and then at the end of it, we'll end up with something that we're happy with. But
yeah, it can be quite a long process, and like sometimes we'll play a song at one gig, and then a few further gigs down the line, it might have changed because of like when we play it live. It obviously feels very different to when you're just in a cramped room with just 3 people. Yeah, I think
like you say as well, it kind of, you may go into a recording studio and think you've got this idea, but then go in there, start playing, you think, well, actually, it sounds different if we do something else completely different. So, I think, like you say, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of an idea, but you can't fully go into it and go, this is definitely what we're going to do. This is definitely how it's going to sound. You can't, like you say, you kind of build it up as you kind of go along, kind of thing as well. And like you say, if you sometimes, I know bands have done it before where they've made it, a tune, gone and played it live, and then completely gone back into the studio and changed it completely because they didn't think it sounded great live. So
yeah,
I think, like I say, there's no right or wrong way, really. I think it's just, like I say, as you go along, you just kind of build it up as you go along, really, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think the song we've recently released, Magnetic, for a while there was like a section. There's a section in the guitar solo. For a while, it was just kind of like an instrumental verse where we like pass about little ideas, and like I think we played it once with a guitar solo live, and then we went to record it, and like we switched up the whole like third verse to make it really fit this solo. So I think you're right. It can change like in the moment, definitely. I think, yeah, people say that's like the best part of the song now as well. So glad we did it.
Can you describe your music in 3 words?
Like, I don't know, like manic, like fuzzy, and like quite heartfelt as well, I think.
So what do you think makes your band stand out?
I think the way we sort of, if you were to like look at our music on like a very surface value, it's quite like an aggressive, like sort of like loud, like almost offensive kind of sounding music. But I think what we've got like lyrically and like the name of our band, like kind of almost like the image that we portray in like our covers and stuff like that, is quite like kind of through our lyrics we're talking about quite like delicate and like heartfelt, and like you know, we're not singing about aggressive things, we're singing about things that are very personal to us and like very sort of like kind of like quite deep and meaningful like to us, and like it's quite some tender subjects, and like we sort of sing like our music's about like things that you wouldn't perceive as like macho or tough. Like we're quite sensitive and like reserved people, but then we present this kind of like delicate, heartfelt like lyrics in this really like aggressive like package. It's been like bubbling in us, and then once you see it live, it's quite like captivating because it's a bit of like a duality with these 2 contrasting themes that you wouldn't think would go together. But I think we do a good job of blending them together, hopefully. So no, we can be a bit blunt sometimes in our sound and our lyrics, but I think it's quite, I hope it's entertaining to watch and listen to. Just, you're making music to sound like someone else. I don't really see the point of that. Like, you should make music that you enjoy. Like, I don't think we, like, when we go about like writing a song, like, we're not like, oh, it has to sound like all our other songs. Like, I don't think we're like crazy diverse, like every song's got a different genre, but like, I don't know, we just kind of, we get into a room together and we start playing, and it like, I think we could play anything and it'd sound like us. Like we never like, oh, this song needs to sound like this band or whatever. It's just, yeah, I think you're right. There's no point like trying to sound like everyone else.
No, it's just like, say, as long as it sounds like something you've made, you're happy with it. Do you have a favourite venue you like to play?
Played a gig at a venue called Outpost in Liverpool, and I think we all agree that that's our favourite gig we ever played. Like, it's a proper like dingy back room, but like in a good way, like a dingy back room. And yeah, we were playing with some other bands that we're mates with, and we're quite similar to all the other bands, and it was pretty packed, and like, yeah, I think we went over like I think we had like a 30-minute set, but we ended up playing for like nearly 40 minutes. And like the sound guy came up to us after and was just like, yeah, you were so noisy, I didn't want to stop you. And like everyone in the crowd seemed to be having a lovely time. And I think that's one of our favorite places. That I definitely think that's one of our favorite places to play. There's some other great places.
It's not even so much like what's our favorite place to play. It's more you get the sort of people that appreciate the music at that venue, and it makes such a difference to the way you feel that you're playing when you're playing to people that are jumping up and down.
Yeah,
and it's packed.
Music are obviously half of it. Like say, it's having the actual crowd that you, I think, is really, especially when you're on stage, you obviously see the crowd. So you've got to have a gig like that, like say where they're jumping about and you can see if they're enjoying it. And that's really, I suppose, for you guys, what really stands out more, because obviously that's what you get to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a venue that you would like to play, like a dream venue?
Well, like in Liverpool, like where we're from, obviously, like the Cavern is quite an iconic venue. But they just kind of tend to have like acoustic Beatles covers on constantly. So I don't think they do many gigs. I'd love to play Arts Club in Liverpool. That's really cool. Cool venue. Obviously, like the O2 Academy would be really cool. Trying to think where else. Don't know. Like Leeds, where I'm from, is a cool place called the Wardrobe. I'd like to play there. There's like Belgrave Music Hall in Leeds as well. I'd love to play there. I don't know, like Wembley Stadium would be nice, but I don't know, selling tickets might be a bit tricky.
Give it a couple of years, it might be different.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Honestly, I'd just like to play at a venue at the moment. So
just anywhere.
Yeah.
What would you say the local scene is like for the music? Is there a lot of help around for bands like yourself? Is there a lot of venues that you can like really play? Do you feel there's enough help for you guys really to like get you out there and get you started and really be able to put on a gig?
In Liverpool, there's quite a few venues that are quite cool. I know, obviously, at the moment, a lot of like local venues are like you hear about like Gorilla and Deaf Institute in Manchester. Like their like future's very uncertain. And I think a few places in Liverpool that we've played have closed down recently. But I don't know. Yeah, Liverpool's quite nice. It's got a good like range of venues. I think there just needs to be more gigs, really. Like everything seems to like be through a booking agency or like a at the moment. Like, I think it'd be nice if like venues just kind of were a bit more open to just, I don't know, having like 3 or 4 bands play who are all like similar genres. Like I think like what you were saying earlier about a lot of bands sounding the same is you tend to play gigs and then like the headliner will be like some like Oasis kind of like a rip off, or like, you know, like the next gig you're playing with like some like 1975 sounding band, and like you know, like they're obviously like they're putting on a great show and everything, but I don't know. Yeah, I think like if venues kind of like embrace kind of like a bit like a weirder side, and they were like, oh, we're gonna put a night on and it's 5 bands, they all sound the same. Well, not sound the same, but like over a similar genre. I don't know. I think I'd be more inclined to go to like a gig like that, whereas like I might only know 1 band, but if like the other 4 are also going to be like really good bands and like similar, I'd be more likely to go down, I think.
I'm not sure if in Liverpool as well, it sort of seems like there's quite a lot of saturation in terms of bands. Like there is quite a lot of them. Like there's been gigs that we've gone to where there's been like quite an established band, but there's been kind of no one there. I'm not sure if that's because they don't have a following in like Liverpool, or if that's because there's just so many choices that you can't like spread, you know, condense the people into one venue at one time. But
yeah, I think we've heard that like Liverpool's can be quite tricky for bands who aren't like from Liverpool to like get into.
The most help we've had in terms of like a band is just from other bands that we're friends with, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Being friends with other bands is like such an important thing, I think. Like, because you're just able to, you know, like you might be setting up like a night and then invite them, and then next time if that goes well, they'll invite you to something. So you're just sort of helping each other.
Yeah,
definitely. I think we're quite good friends with quite a few other bands in Liverpool. So like, and like, obviously like you support each other and you want each other to do well, and like we actually genuinely enjoy a lot of our friends, but like bands who we're friends with, we really enjoy their music. So when they release new music, like we're dead excited for it, and then they like in return are, and it's I think it's good to have like a nice little support group, I guess.
Yeah, no, it is really, like you say, especially like you say around the scene as well. It's nice to be able to think you've got them people you can say, look, if you need a bit of help, you can go. You know, we've got this gig coming up. Any chance you could help with by just being a support act or just doing bits like that. But it's nice to know that you've got that support as such to help as well. If you could change anything about the scene, the local scene, that you think would improve it, obviously you've mentioned about the sort of gigs like you say where it's like kind of an open mic night kind of thing. But is there anything else that you can think of that would help the scene?
Like supporting new bands really would be like you kind of trying to get a gig when you haven't got any, like I think we struggled when we first started, like when you haven't got any music out, or like when you maybe don't have quite a big following yet, so you can't be like, oh, here's these other places we've played, here's these tracks we've got. Like promoters and venues kind of tend to well, I don't know, they just don't reply to your emails, you know. Like you've kind of got to have like that foot through the door, and I think it can be very tricky for new bands, and sort of bands with like a more like not a very clear definable like genre. Like if you're not, you can't say, oh, we're an indie band who play, this is our music. Like it can be quite tricky, and I think like giving new bands, or maybe like slightly like, maybe not weird is the wrong word, but like a bit left the center bands, you know, who might not fit into a specific box, like giving them a bit more of a chance, I think like is definitely something that like venues and promoters could do.
It's a strange time at the minute with everything that's going on in the world. How have you actually coped as a band? Is it made it difficult more to make new music, or is it just made it really difficult basically to do what you would probably usually do as a normal day-to-day thing as a band?
It's we haven't seen each other since lockdown started, so we're miles away from each other at the moment. Obviously we've released our first single during lockdown. That was quite weird because we obviously haven't been able to gig to promote it, and like haven't been able to see each other and like actually like sit down properly and like talk what do we think of it, you know, like a few months down the line or whatever. Writing, I don't know, I've been writing a little bit. It's I went blue. It's a bit different when you've kind of got all the time in the world, but at the same time, like sometimes you just can't find the drive to sit down and write about stuff when there's nothing really going on in your life. I'm dying to have a practice and get back together. Like I think like what Lucas was saying earlier about he'll like be happy to play any venue right now. I think definitely with him. We've been a bit I don't know, we haven't done much recently.
I suppose there's only so much you can really do over it.
Yeah.
Like if you're not together, it's not like you can just, you know, get together and have a jamming session and think of a new song. You know, it's a little bit more difficult when you can't see each other. So
definitely.
It is difficult.
I think if we want to get it together, I think we were talking the other day about recording a new song and I think if we were to go straight into the studio now, we'd be very, very rusty, and it'd probably take us a lot longer than it should to record a song.
Again, I know this is a little bit more of a difficult one to say, but do you have any plans for the rest of this year?
Oh, we should be like, I think we're all kind of heading back to Liverpool quite soon, so hopefully we will actually be able to practice. I'd love to release a new song before the end of the year, but obviously I'd love to be able to gig with it and like show it off but I don't know when that's going to be possible. And then obviously it takes like a few months to kind of like record a song and release it. And like, you know, in a few months time, like, or like 3 or 4 months time, we're going to be in like near December and everyone's just going to be listening to Christmas music. So I don't think it'd do that well, you know? I'd love to get a song out by the end of the year, but if not, it'd probably be like next year, like early next year. And then hopefully we can pick up the pace a bit more, because how many songs do we have? We have like...
We've got so many songs, but just not the money to record them.
Yeah, that's the main bottleneck at the moment. Yeah, I think we've got like maybe about 12, 13 songs, but we've only got 1 hour. I'd just love to pump them out and just really like just be like, this is us. Like, if you like it, cool, stick about, you know. Hopefully we'll be gigging again soon.
So that's all the questions I've got. Is there any other information you want me to put into the interview?
Yeah, definitely. We've recently released our debut single, Magnetic. Yeah, you should. Hopefully people give that a listen. Hopefully they'll like it.
But no, thank you very much for this. Obviously,
yeah, thank you so much, John. Thank you so much. Yeah,
no problem.
It's been great chatting with you. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.